Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at Dragon number 108, out 40 years ago this month. In it for our 350, we get Mutant Manual 2. I was really excited to see that. Environment Effect and Fantasy Vegetation. Very excellent cover. And then we go the inside. We take a look. The very first ad is the Power Game, Superpower from Games Workshop. I don't remember this one. Only 1995. And these guys were out of Nottingham and distributed through Columbia, Maryland. And then Rolemaster, the classic fantasy roleplay system from Iron Crown Enterprises. Rolemaster, a cut above the rest. Rolemaster had great granular detail, if that's what you were looking for, but it was slow to play. And Iron Crown Enterprises from Charlottesville, Virginia. And then we get the nice table of content, April 1986. The cover is Hidden Danger. And it's the only work of art we've ever printed that almost died of old age before it appeared. Larry Elmore, the good old boy of TSR Art Department, offered us this painting as a cover piece a couple of years back. So it took them a while to get around to printing it, but I'm glad they did. It's a really good picture. Larry Elmore did some outstanding work for Dragon. And then we've got the table of contents there, and then letters to the editor, and an editorial. The joke is not on you. And April Fools. Not a fan of the April Fools. I didn't mind one or two when they did the Warner Brothers and Popeye and stuff. I enjoyed that, but magazine kind of gave itself over to April Fools in the April issue. Just a few years later, and yeah. But we got a nice look at the World Gamers Guide. So if you're looking for a game to play 40 years ago somewhere in the world, here's your chance. Come play with us. Pendragon Call of Cthulhu Elf Quest from Chaosium Incorporated out of Albany, California. And then the forum, just some more little enhanced letters to the editor. And then the Science Fiction Book Club. Dragon Riders of Perm by Anne McAfee. I've never read those, by the way. Yours free with membership. The Science Fiction Book Club out of Garden City, New York. I was in and out of that thing from the mid-'70s through the mid-'80s. I have a lot of those still around the house. The Quest is Over. Fantasy Wear Formal Order Form from, this isn't TSR, it is Fantasy Wear in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Official TSR wear. That's kind of neat. Never had any of it. Lehman's Tiny Hut by Leonard Lakofka, creating tailor-made monsters. So you go ahead and you create your monsters per this article, and it tells you how to set up the experience points and everything for it. And then we get an ad here for announcing Fantasy Module Contest presented by Freelance Games. First place gets $500 out of Austin, Texas. Deadline date, June 30th, 1986, so you better get writing. The Role of Nature, systems for bringing environment into play. Environment is hugely important in any kind of game, but especially in a game like D&D where you can strand your players in the middle of a blizzard or any number of things out in the desert. There's all kinds of stuff you can do with the environment. And then we get an ad here for the Lexicon, Atlas of the Lost World of Atlantis from Bard Games, where fantasy becomes reality. And these are available at Walden Books, B. Dalton Books, and finer hobby stores. I miss Walden Books and B. Dalton Books. Continuing out our article on environments, we get an ad for Shadow Graphics, Valshia, by Parkinson. This was a Dragon cover, and now you could get the print 40 years ago from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And then we have from Roslyn, New York, Chivalry and Sorcery and Daredevils from Fantasy Games Unlimited. Continuing our article on environment, we get an ad for Illuminati Adventure Systems out of Houston, Texas, and Behind Enemy Lines, Platoon Leader's Pocket Guide and Squad Leader's Pocket Guide, $5 each for The Companions from Bath, Maine. Continuing our article, we finally finish it. It's a long article. I do remember taking some tips out of that article. And then we have the Doctor Who role-playing game for anybody who's into Doctor Who. I've watched Doctor Who periodically. My youngest son, Adam, got into it big time for a while. I watched The Weeping Angels, were just wonderful. But I'm not a Doctor Who guy myself. And then we have the Daleks and the Master, and this is from FASA out of Chicago, Illinois. The Ecology of the Pernicorn, an insect monster. I like insects in D&D. They can be a lot of fun. Dual Track, the biggest Car Wars supplement ever from Steve Jackson Games out of Austin, Texas. Did play a little bit of Car Wars back in the day. Continue on the Pernicorn. We have another article on the Pernicorn, but this is a new version. And finishing out our article there, we have Tales the Unknown, or Trek the Unknown, the Complete Strategist. I just saw that they're closing down. The last couple of stores are going to be closing sometime in the next few months. We have an ad for Bushido from Fantasy Games Unlimited, Roslyn, New York. Label your letter. Be sure to let them know where you came from. Game Designers Workshop out of Bloomington, Illinois, brings us Twilight 2000. This is a big game for them in '86. Cantrips for Clerics. Zero-level magic for deities to dish out. I never used cantrips for clerics. We rarely saw cantrips used in our game for MUs. They're just, you get 4 for 1 first-level spell in first edition D&D. It really wasn't worth it. You want to write out? Got a question about an article? Go ahead and send us a letter at Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Sky Realms of Jeroen. Leave Your World Behind. And this Sky Realms Publishing out of Berkeley, California. I don't know those guys. A Different Design. Tips for making tournament adventures. Tournament adventures were huge in the 80s. Something everybody wanted to do, and I did a couple, and I ran a couple. Designed my own and then ran a couple. It could be a lot of fun. And then we got a side page for Relpartha Enterprises, Cincinnati, Ohio. Skeletons, Relpartha's Bones Gonna Rise. Let's see if I have any of these guys. I think I have that Ranger. As I've said many times before on the channel, I became the repository for many, many people to get rid of their lead figures. So I have a lot, but I have some that just aren't in part of the collection because the guy only had 1 or 2, or I only got 1 or 2. But this is Relpartha Enterprises, Cincinnati, Ohio. Relpartha, still around. Still look them on the internet. Finishing out our article here, and then we have the ad for State of War. The year is 2000. They said it could never happen. Civil War in the U.S. from Game Systems, Inc. in Miami, Florida. Judge Dredd, the role-playing game. I read some Judge Dredd. Saw the movie with Stallone. I am the law. It was fine. I had a buddy who was really into Judge Dredd. This is from Games Workshop. And then finishing out our article here, we go to Second Coming, Castle Creations. Many exciting new figures available. Ideas and inquiries always welcome. Send for a catalog in Columbus, Ohio. A tradition of epic fantasy adventure continues. Palladium. I have heard good things about Palladium. I still continue to hear good things about Palladium. I never did play this stuff. I had a buddy who had some of the books. I thumbed through some of these, but I don't ever remember playing it. Agents and A-Bombs. Nuclear devices in the top secret game. Okay. That's pretty cool. I don't ever remember using this article in Top Secret. We were playing Top Secret at the time, but it was never one that was a common one at our table. So continuing the article there, we finish it after the blast, in case it matters, how to play out bomb effects. So you get some tips here for Top Secret. And we have guidelines for contributing an article to Dragon Magazine, and then an ad for Villains and Vigilantes from Fantasy Games Unlimited. Very first superhero role-playing game I played, and I believe the second RPG I played. I might have been after Gamma World. It was definitely, D&D was my first, and then we morphed into AD&D, and then I played Gamma World and Villains and Vigilantes the same summer of '80, but I'm not sure which one. By the way, coming up very soon will be my 46th anniversary of playing D&D, running D&D. I ran it the first day I ever played. The Plants of Byernden, 1DM's version of Especially Deadly Greenery. I liked stuff like this. I remember reading this article. I used a lot of it, especially when you have players who have allergies. It's fun to kind of throw this in and make fantasy become reality and vice versa. And continuing on our plants, we have an ad here for Mayfair Games, the licensing specialist. DC Heroes Jonah Hex, RPG Brainiac Adventure from Mayfair Games out of Niles, Illinois, and that was for the DC Heroes RPG. I did not play DC Heroes. I did play the Marvel game, and I definitely played Champions. We still play Champions. Continuing on our article here, and then we go to Amazing Stories, May of '86, our 60th anniversary issue now on sale from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, when TSR held the imprint for Amazing Stories. Raffin Miniatures, 25mm scale kit in metal. I have the Vampires of Tendalore. This is a nice set. All these were in there. Really good. I don't think I had any of the others. Rapham out of Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. Are you missing a Dragon magazine in your lair? Here's your chance to get some back issues at just a hair over cover price, or just about cover price. This is pretty sweet, $3 each. Mail orders to Hobby Shop, care of Lake Geneva, or in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. I always like that. Mutant Manual 2, an Ares section special. Yes, Mutants for Gamma World. You get different monsters for Gamma World. I love these. These would have been for Gamma World 2nd still. 3rd had not come out yet. It would come out later in 86. Gamma World 2nd was a lot of fun. We play Gamma World 4th still. A lot of fun, though. Kind of like it. Oh, these are so cool. I Xeroxed this. I was working in an office at the time, and I Xeroxed it and put it in a binder, and I had it with the other Mutant manuals. Anytime a Mutant manual was published, it got Xeroxed and put in the binder. Still have that binder. New Armory paint set, metallic paint set 2 from the Armory. And the Armory paint sets were available in Illinois, Granite City, Mini Mall Hobbies, Mount Prospect, Games Plus. Just went to Games Plus about a week ago. First time my wife had been up there in 25 years, and she was like a kid in a hobby store. She went nuts. She bought some dice. She bought some dice bags. Just really had fun. It was neat to see her get excited about this stuff. And then Academy of Adventure Gaming Arts and Design Official Origins Award nomination ballot. So you can vote for the folks that you want. Deadline is May 3rd of 86. Not much time left. Gen Con Game Convention at Mecca Auditorium in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I did not go to 86. My wife went to 85 with some friends. I was out of town on business. I couldn't go. 86 we didn't go, but we did go in 87, 88, and 89, I think. I don't remember. I'll have to talk to my wife, see if she remembers. And then we have previews, new products for June of 1986. The D&D set, Immortals Rules, Dragonlance Legends Volume 2, War of the Twins. That's my favorite of the Dragonlance books. Best of Dragon Volume 5, Balderdash game, one-on-one game book for Amber's Sword of World's End. C2, Swords of Deceit, or CA2 rather, I have that one. Ravager of Time, I have that one. Not a great time for modules for AD&D. Nightmare Realm of Baba Yaga. That was an adventure game book. I had that at one time. And then coming out in May of 86, Agent 13, exciting new novel series. Adventures of Alphax for D&D Master. A 1 through 4 Scourge of the Slave Lords AD&D game. I do have that. And then some sneak previews and profiles and design. Profiles and design here for Doug Niles and Gene Blashfield Black. Okay, just a little bit about the people behind the games. And then some pros. The Gray Stones. Don't really remember this one. Probably read it. Pros was hard to come by for D&D for the longest time, so yeah, I read a lot of these. Kunipier Act for Dungeons & Dragons player kit for the D&D game. You'll be amazed by the tales will tell you in amazing stories. Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And the Ares Science Fiction Gaming section. The X-Men. Yes. Kitty Pryde. Wow, that was for me, a rough time with the X-Men, but I digress. High Tech and Beyond. Technological improvement in the Traveler game. I love Traveler, disintegrators, stuff like that. Globe crackers, they're for black or white globes. A lot of fun. I loved articles like this. Cyworld from Fantasy Games Unlimited out of Roslyn, New York. Continuing out our Traveler article. An Honorable Enemy, the ONI agency in Champions Gaming. I know I read the heck out of this one too. I think I used these guys. We were still playing Champions a lot back in 86. Champions tapered off in 87. A couple of us changed jobs, a couple moved away, and it started tailing off a little bit. We still play it, but we weren't playing. Champions used to be about every other week or every third week at our table for a while in the mid-80s, and by now it had kind of calmed down a little bit. The Hero System will knock your block off. Hero System. They were published in Charlottesville, Virginia. I love Hero System. I still love it. 4th edition Hero System, the big blue book with the George Perez cover, my favorite. Continuing on, ONI or ONI. Old Usarians Never Die. Age and Aging in Star Frontiers Gaming. It's funny that age is such an important part of the Traveler game, but here we have to have a separate one-page article about it for Star Frontiers. Love Star Frontiers. The Marvel File. Up to our navels in Little Blue Geeks. Yeah, we meet the Bamfs and the Mean and Kitty Pryde telling a fairy tale and Chris Claremont. I don't know. I'm not sure what was going on, but those were tough issues for me. I did not care for them. That's Wolverine as the Mean. Yeah. More Mutant Fever. Mutant and Pure Strain Gamma World game diseases. I use this a lot. I gave a couple of the NPCs various illnesses. The players had to go on various quests to get the herb that would help cure it, blah, blah, blah. A lot of fun. Continuing on our disease article, and then we go to AggieCon 17, April 3rd through the 6th of 1986. You better hurry, you're going to miss it. Continuing on our convention calendar, and then finishing out our forum article from up, or letters from up there. Atlanticon, Trenton State College in Trenton, New Jersey, June 19th through the 22nd, 1986. You can stay up there and play. I'd love to go to a con and just play all weekend. Gamer's Guide, there you go. These were kind of personal ads. You could take a look at stuff in here. The Duncan Company used to advertise a lot. Dragon Bone was a big one in Dragon. And here's just a smaller section for them. Indexed to advertisers, so you can find out where the ad was. And then Dragon Mirth. Love Dragon Mirth. Still love Dragon Mirth. And then Snarf Quest by Larry Elmore. Continuing out. Snarf Quest. Wormy. Gotta love Wormy. Dave Trampier. Not a lot of dialogue, told most of it visually, but 3 pages of Wormy. Gotta like it. And then we have an ad for the people who brought you Paranoia. Ghostbusters, the role-playing game. West End Games, New York, New York. Never played Ghostbusters, the RPG. And then the last ad, Adventure Beckons. Come to Middle Earth from Iron Crown Enterprises. MERPS, Middle Earth Role-Playing System, A World Apart, Charlottesville, Virginia. From Iron Crown Enterprises. So there you have it. Dragon number 108. The main thing I was excited about out of this issue was the Mutant Manual 2, the Traveler article in there, and just a lot of fun. I miss Dragon still. It's been gone for many, many years. In print, I think it stopped in 07, but I still miss Dragon, and I love pulling these guys out and taking a look at them. So please leave comments below, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Tell your friends. Let's keep growing the channel. Also, please take a look at the Patreon. See if there's anything you can do to help me out there. Any suggestions for future videos, always welcome. But that's all I've got today on page 121. I want to thank you for spending time with me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.